real quick to start just throwing stones, at one another with your words. And so those are the times where you do need to press in even more and say, okay, God, we're not going to fall into that trap. We know what the enemy is doing. And even though we're frustrated and we're mad and we're discouraged, we're going to press into you and we're going to press into one another.
That's right. This is the whole topic with this is getting married God's way. And we want to say, I know you guys are enjoying this, and we would love for you guys to go ahead and take this time right now to share this video with whoever you know, especially reaching out to young people, because we want young people to know that it can be done right. And we have people right here in front of us that is a true testimony and sharing their testimony about how it can be done right. We're about to go to commercial, but before we do, we would like to reach out to those that would like to do sponsorship. If you would like to get a slot on the radio of any kind, 15-second, 30-second, whatever type of slot, and do a sponsorship, we would love to have you to sponsor us on Bone to Bone Marriage of the Heart, so we can stay on the air, so we can stay bringing this powerful information to the ears of the young people and the people that need to hear it. But we thank you so much for even considering, and we're going to go to commercial break, and we'll be right back. Welcome back to Bone Marriage of the Heart, sponsored by Nichols Knight Production. We were talking a little bit earlier about intentionally raising children. And one of the things that we found out in raising our children is that you need a village.
Yes.
You really need a village to raise children. Yes. And so we were blessed to have the Clecklys as a youth pastor and our friends.
Thank you, Lord.
Because even though we didn't do it right in our marriage, we didn't do it the godly way, we wanted our kids to have that example to say, for them to talk to them to say, okay, you can do this.
That's
we did it. We are living proof. And so it's important when you're intentionally raising children to have a village of a little bit of all type of testimonies. Right. So that, like, if your children don't want to talk to you, they have someone they can go to. I know many times my children reached out to their youth pastors and talked to them in conversation. So tell us a little bit about intentionally raising children.
Okay. There's one thing I wanted to point out and actually kind of revisit something that Katina said earlier. Just about the fact that we didn't have examples. We didn't have godly examples of marriage and godly examples of relationship. But intentionally raising children really begins at the courtship phase, if you follow me. Because this man right here, when we began courting, I also knew I didn't want to take it to the next level as far as marriage if this wasn't somebody that I wanted to have children with. So ladies, when you're with a man, one of those deciding factors, is this someone that I want to be my baby daddy? Just ask yourself that question. Ask yourself that question and really just think about that. So like, okay, if this is somebody that I don't want to reproduce with, he probably is not going to be a good father and not going to be a good husband. And so your choice of your spouse, that really is the beginning of intentionally raising children. you know. And so we didn't have examples growing up, and we knew that we wanted to break that generational curse in our family.
Yes,
We wanted
yes.
to have a marriage that lasted. We wanted everybody in our family to have the same
Amen.
last name. We wanted to make sure that those things that happened to us did not repeat in our family. And again, and I don't want anybody, please do not feel condemned if that's not your story. This is how God dealt with us. This was our personal story and our personal journey. And even in our engagement, yes, we were engaged for several years before we got married. Again, that was our testimony. That's how God instructed us to do it. We were young, we were in college. We knew we were to be married, but we knew we couldn't get going on to get married. And so when we did, you know, get married, 2 months later, find out there's a bun in the oven and she's coming. So we were like, you know, we have to make sure that we do the things that God has purposed in our heart. And so we're very, very intentional with our daughter, Elena. She's beautiful. She's a wonderful,
Yes.
wonderful child. Was a godsend for us as first-time parents. And so she's 11 years old now. And so we make sure that we communicate with her. You know, nothing is off limits. And so she knows that her daddy and me, that we love her. We dote on her. She knows that we think that she's absolutely beautiful. She's the center, you know, just the apple of our eye. And, you know, we're very careful to raise her in a way where she feels, where it's just very normal just to have parents that love her and talk to her and communicate with her, where it's very normal to, you know, to have Jesus all in the center of our conversation. She's around our friends. She knows that we don't, you know, smoke or curse or drink or whatever. Like, those things don't even happen. And so
That's awesome.
yeah,
That's
it really
awesome.
is. And so she's in an environment that's safe, and she's in an environment where she can reach her full potential. And so there's a lot that goes that doesn't just happen. That doesn't just happen. You have to be very, very deliberate about how you conduct yourself around your children and the speech that you use, and how you and your spouse interact with one another around your children.
I want to say one thing one key thing you mentioned is decision.
Yes.
A choice is so key. Young folks out there, you got to make good decisions. And look at some of your friends and some of the ones that's living this thing. Think about, glean from them. If they live in this thing, glean from them.
That's
and
right.
talk to them and ask them questions and find things out. But it's so keen.
right.
Your decisions that you make in life is
That's
very
right.
keen.
That's
I
right.
tell people all the time, especially when I'm ministering to young people, that your life is the sum total of the choices you make and the company you keep.
Whoa.
That's right.
That's
If
good.
you show me a man's company and tell me the choices he made, I can tell you what manner of man he is.
Mhm.
Right.
And so the choices you make and the company you keep make the totality of a human being. And
Definitely.
so that is so key.
Definitely.
One thing with our daughter, and I want to share with especially the men who have daughters.
Yes.
Talk to them.
I know there's a stereotype where men are overprotective of their daughters, and they say, young man, come in here, I got my shotgun and all of this. Your shotgun man needs to be your character.
Come
That's
on.
right.
It needs
Come
to
on.
be man that you want your daughter to marry.
That's right.
Amen.
I look
That's
myself
awesome.
in
That's
the mirror every single day and I say, are you the type of man that you would want your daughter to marry?
That's right.
Because I cannot be this overprotective, overbearing daddy if I don't first have the character to back up my
right.
overprotection
Yes,
and me
yes.
being overbearing.
That's right.
Because you got men who are overbearing over their daughters, but they're cheating on their daughters' mothers.
That's right.
Oh.
Or they're doing all kinds of other crazy stuff behind closed doors and behind the
That's right.
scenes, but they're being this big old macho man
Mm-hmm.
when it comes
Right.
to their daughter.
That's
So
awesome.
you got to make sure that you're being intentional in that regard, your character as a man, as the husband of your wife, and as the father of your daughter, to make sure that you're being the example that you want your daughter to see, so that
That's
when
right.
she begins to make decisions on who she wants to date
Decisions.
and who
Yes.
she wants to marry, because I know my daughter's 11, but she's going to be 21 one day,
Right.
and there's going to be a boy that see them big, beautiful eyes that I've been seeing ever since the day she was born.
Yes.
And I can't get mad at that, because they are beautiful eyes. But I got to make sure that if she chooses that young man to date,
Yes.
that he has the character that I've been setting as an example for her
Yes,
ever
yes.
since she was a baby girl.
Yes.
Wow. And on that note, we want you guys to to take this time to share. Please share this Facebook
Yeah.
live video, because I know you guys are gleaming from this powerful information that's
Anointed
going forward.
Raymond
It is-
word.
Yes, it is so needed right now. And also talking about that, in the month of November, the first Friday in November, we're going to have a couples night out. And so these
Come
are
on.
friends that you see sitting here, and you will see a lot of people that you can glean
Glean,
from.
yes.
The people that we have on this show, you can glean from, you can interact, you can ask
Yes.
questions.
Yes.
It's just going to be a fun
Phenomenal
date night,
time.
learning about each other from other couples, because we
Yes.
all, no matter, they're
Right.
younger than us, but we glean so much from
Yes,
them. And you know,
yes.
I know it's vice versa. And
Absolutely.
so
Yes.
when we have date night, that's the purpose of it. It's
Yes.
to gather, to learn more about what you can do to make your marriage even greater.
That's right.
The couple we had on before, the Jenkins, she shared that testimony that they've been married 26 years. We
Yes.
only been married right at 15, and she was saying how she learned from us. So you
Awesome.
can, it's always learning.
That's right.
This is what this is for, is to minister and encourage couples to fight for that love that you
Yes.
have.
Yes.
So we're just
Yes.
super excited
Yeah.
about tonight.
And-
It's
and-
just
Yes.
been awesome.
And Sister Robinson, that's how you fight. You
Yes.
fight.
That's right.
You fight through your preparation.
Yes.
That's right.
You fight through the resources that God has placed in your life. You fight
Yes.
through the company you keep. You fight
That's
through the
it.
choices
Yes.
that you make. And you know, when I was a kid, I remember looking to my left and my right, and no one in my household had the same last name as me.
Wow.
And I made a decision at 11 that I'm going to make a different decision
right.
for my future children.
Wow.
I remember when I was 16 years old, I was watching a documentary about young fathers who got frustrated with their babies to the point where they shook them and they killed their babies. And I made a decision at 16 that I would not get that frustrated to
Right.
where I do that to my child. And so I was making these decisions as a child, as
Yes.
a teenager, so
Yes.
that when my wife and I had our first child when I was 24, we were able to raise that child because of decisions that we had made way before
Right.
that child was ever born.
Right.
That's how you fight.
That's right.
You have got to be intentional. You've got to be purposeful. You've got to know that your future is what you're aiming for, because we're always constantly going into the future. You're not
Yes.
going to stay in this season
Yes,
forever.
yes.
right.
There's
Time
something on
is-
the
That's right.
horizon that you need to prepare yourself for. And,
Yes.
and the Bible says this, the first time that God said it is not good, because he said light is good.
Good.
Water, it's good. Vegetation, it's good.
Yes.
The first time God said it is not good, he said in Genesis chapter number 2, verse number 18, he said it is not good for man to be alone.
Yes.
That's it. That's
We
it.
Well,
are relational
and on that note,
beings.
and on
Yes.
that note, I enjoy my bone to bone.
Absolutely.
This lady here, you know, I just want to talk to the guys out there right quickly, the ones that are blended family. When you date that lady, just don't date that lady. Date the package that she came with. She may have a child or 2 child or 3 child or whatever it may be. The bottom line is accept the total package. Love
Yes.
her and those kids,
Yes.
guys. And my wife always get on me about that. But anyway,
He's hitting on the counter. But,
But-
we're about to wrap up, so
Yes.
we're gonna have to go ahead and end this. I know it's good, y'all.
Oh,
I know
my
we don't want to
goodness.
get off the air, but it's about that time. But we hope that you have learned so much tonight, and you share this video. And just look forward to the on
Yes.
Thursday nights. Tune in at
Yes.
8 o'clock, because this is the type of information you get that if you don't get anything from, you can share with the young people. You know, because you may already be married and set in your ways or whatever. But we want to be able to touch everyone.
and we
So-
need
right.
sponsors.
Yes,
Yeah.
we definitely
We
need
need sponsors.
sponsorship.
Can
So you guys can comment below, you can inbox, or you can email us at bonetobonemarriageoftheheart@gmail.com. We so enjoyed having you with us tonight. Yes.
Can we say thank you for
Thank you.
considering us to come on? This has been an amazing
Yes.
experience.
Yes.
Thank you so much for
And thank you
considering
to
us.
everyone who tuned in tonight.
Yes,
Absolutely.
thank you
Yes.
guys for
Thank you
coming.
all
Like
for
I said,
coming.
we glean from each other.
Yes.
It ain't about an age. It ain't about how long you've been married. Everybody can learn from each other.
Yes.
Yes.
So thank you so much for tuning in to Bone,
Marriage of the Heart.
Good night.
Bone to bone.